Right, we'll call the meeting to order and stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the first City Council meeting of 2026. First up on the agenda is the appointment of the city administrator. Staff recommends the council take the following action to appoint and designate the first city official, which we have as Steve Nasby. There are several appointments and designations here, but we would like a motion for each one individually.
I'll make a motion to appoint the city administrator, Steve Nasby.
I'll second.
The motion made by Benson, second by Nelson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Yes, thank you, Steve. Next up is the appointment of the city attorney, which is Ron Schrammel. Someone would like to make a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to appoint Ron Schrammel.
I'll second.
Motion by Esplin, second by Quaid. Is there any discussion? Mr. Nasby?
Thank you, Mayor. City Attorney Schrammel has let us know verbally that he will be resigning from city attorney work April 1st. I sent an email out to you guys the other day to give you a heads up on that. I have been talking with Ron. We're looking at what options we'll have. We have about 90 days to make that transition, so we'll have some options back to you for that. But we would like you to go ahead and make this appointment now so we have that and then can make a smooth transition as that deadline draws near.
Is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up is the designation of electronic transfers. And that designation is given to City Administrator Steve Nasby and Finance Director and Controller Donna Torkelson.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Nelson, second by Benson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, designation of financial institutions. We've got listed BMO, Bank Midwest, United Prairie Bank, Leading Edge Credit Union, 4M Fund, and Multi-Bank Securities. Someone like to make a motion to designate those financial institutions?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Nelson, second by Quaid. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And last one here is a designation of the official newspaper, which is the Cottonwood County Citizen. Someone like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion designating Cottonwood County Citizen as the official newspaper.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Sherman, second by Benson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is to establish the 2026 City Council meeting dates and times.
Okay. In the packet, just got a memo for you, basically continuing the current practice of the first and third Tuesdays of each month at 6:30. The city charter requires a meeting in the first half of the month and the second half of the month, and this would satisfy that. This would also set a tentative date for Board of Review. That's when the county assessor comes and talks about the valuations of properties, and the city council holds that hearing. And then just to note that November 3rd, 2026 is a general election, and we're prohibited from meeting between 6 and 8 p.m., so the start time for that one would be 8:05, as we've done in the past. And our city code requires the council take action setting these meetings, so we're recommending that you remain with the status quo unless you have any changes you'd like to make in that meeting schedule.
I'll make a motion to establish the city council meeting dates and times to the established times.
It's worked in the past, so I'll second it.
Motion is made by Benson, second by Nelson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we can approve the consent agenda, which has the minutes from the council meeting on December 16th of 2025, and also the street committee meeting on December 16th of 2025, along with the regular bills. If anyone's got any questions, comments, changes, otherwise we'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second that.
Motion by Benson, second by Sherman. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the MnDOT traffic signal discussion, and we have Zach Tess and Mary Leffler that we'll welcome up to start this conversation.
Is it on? Oh, the lights doesn't work. Okay. Good evening, council. Thanks for having us here again tonight. Hope you all had a good holiday season. So I'll start with a little history of where we've been, kind of where we are at today. So if we think back to now what I guess would be 2 years ago, which is hard to believe, in June of 2024, we had a municipal consent hearing for municipal consent, which was triggered on this project by the change in traffic capacity and the purchasing of permanent right-of-way. The change in the traffic capacity was due to that 3-lane restriping that we were proposing to pilot. That was rejected at that time, so that part has been taken out of this project, but we still are purchasing that permanent right-of-way for the traffic cabinet at 10th Street. So at that time there was a resolution passed to reject municipal consent for the 3-lane, accept the permanent right-of-way purchasing, as well as set the cost participation for the city at $177,000. In July of 2024, MnDOT had a new foundation standard that was rolled out for traffic signals, and that was rolled out statewide. It was an FHWA, Federal Highway Administrative requirement, and so that is when we saw the cost increase drastically. So at June, our estimate was $177,000, and then that jumped up to $420,000 for the that's for the city's participation. So at that point, we delayed the project due to that rise in the cost and kind of wanting to see what bids did statewide as more projects with signals were let and contractors got used to this new foundation, wait and see what the cost did. So then in that same year of 2024, and then in the October-November range, MnDOT did an intersection control evaluation, which you'll commonly hear called an ICE, for 10th Street to evaluate some different alternatives. That was presented by, I believe, Zach and Greg and a few others at that time. And project still stayed paused. And then June of this last year is when MnDOT put out a memo that we would be covering the additional cost for that new foundation, the increase in the cost. So We had people, the traffic department at the state, put together estimates and gave us a chart of if your signal is this long, the arm across the highway is this long, this is how much extra we pay. So I think in your case, we're paying about 50 grand extra is where we came in June of 2025. And then back in December 16th, myself and Ann met with the street committee to walk through our most recent estimate. We are currently planned for an April letting, which means we have a plan turn-in here in the next week or so. So that's why we met with the street committee in December, just to get that new cost estimate on their radar. And they asked us to look into a couple things. One being if the Grid Smart was mandatory, and then if MnDOT could pay for that cabinet and Grid Smart, as well as removing the emergency vehicle preemption system. So I have a new estimate here today. Sorry, I was just looking at something.
Yeah, and then maybe while Mary's handing that out, the first word she highlighted there, grid smart detection. So anytime you install a traffic signal, you have some sort of lane detection for detecting when vehicles are approaching. That's just the latest technology of what we use for systems. They're a little less obtrusive than traditional loop detectors below pavements. So that's traditionally what we use nowadays, even on reconstruction projects. However, on this one where we're not doing work to the pavement, that would actually cost more to do sort of the old system and loops. So, Mary, you said the question was asked, would we have some sort of lane detection system? We absolutely would with traffic signals. Go ahead.
Yeah. I figured out where I was. So here's our most recent cost estimate, and the street committee asked us to look into paying for the cabinet and the Grid Smart, which would equate to about $42,000. And we've had a lot of conversations that Zach has been involved with senior leadership at MnDOT at the state level. And in this estimate, you'll see we're not paying for the cabinet and the Grid Smart, but what we've done instead is lowered the traffic control signal system percentage that you're paying for, so that we can't pay for the cabinet and the Grid Smart, but we were able to negotiate essentially and work through lowering your percentage on the signal by that same amount.
Well, and maybe just saying it another way. So the current estimates following MnDOT's cost participation policy, which I think Mary handed out, would typically put the city's cost at about $275,000 all inclusive. Talking through it with folks, that there is a process to do exceptions to MnDOT's cost participation policy. Those are generally relatively infrequent. They actually take roughly 3 deputy commissioners within the department to sign off on those things. It seems like there's some support within the department right now to say, we acknowledge, you know, at one point a long time ago, we were at 177, right? Now it's at 275. Where's the right cost moving forward? And it seemed like there was support to split the difference between those two numbers. So that's ultimately why you see the 226. It was our estimates, we believe, are truly 275 to meet the intent of MnDOT's cost participation policy as we know it today. Previously, that was 177. And so splitting that difference is what there appears to be support for right now, for all-inclusive costs associated with Highway 60 10th Street signal. Go ahead, Mary.
I think that's most of walking through that I wanted to do. So I'll just go ahead and open it up to you guys for questions and comments.
Well, and then
Is there
maybe,
something you want to address first?
well, and just one other thing too. I think There's some general interest then from MnDOT's perspective too. We know the history that's gone back and forth on this one as well. Certainly, we wouldn't put projects out for bids if, you know, MnDOT and their local partner isn't willing to support those amounts. And so I think Mary sent an email earlier today to, I think, some of the council.
It was handed out to them.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Steve. That acknowledges, we think based on its age and current degradation, we see a higher risk of failure associated with this system, such that next summer we think we're going to have to be in a position to remove it. So like the note that Mary sent, looking for some level of understanding and support at this 226, or telling MnDOT, no, we're still not comfortable with that. And then we've got to go back to the drawing board to say, all right, what alternatives from that ICE memo do we want to move forward with? Understanding removal of that system is something we plan to do next summer. So thanks, Mary.
Questions or comments from MnDOT? Mr. Esplin?
I've got a few comments. You know what they are probably. Yeah, I voted against the 177,000 2 years ago when this came up. My reason was there's 10 to 15 times as many vehicles on the highway as there is on 10th Street. I figured that's the way it should, the cost should be divided up. It should be like 90-10%. The city should be to pay 10%, not 50%. Well, at that time, the 50% was 177,000. That got put in our budget 2 years ago. And I can live with 177,000 now, but not a penny more than that. That's where I'm at.
I understand that. Thank you, Dennis.
I kind of look at it like, you know, in June it was enough, in July it wasn't. That's kind of like going to the grocery store and getting a rain check for something they're out of. When they come back, if the price is doubled, they're not going to make you pay that extra price. To me, I just, 177 I could go with, but that'd be about it.
I also, I agree with these guys at 177, what we agreed with. We worked our backsides off to get that 177, and as you know, Windom's not getting no bigger. We lost a big industry, and we got some back, but we're not getting to where we normally are, and we're getting be, as you can look on the board here, we got a bunch of older people here, and then our monies just are not there. I mean, we scale back on our budget this year just for our city budget wise, and we went and asked each department head to scale back on what they were spending, and the citizens of Windom are asking us to scale back. And again, I could live with the 177, but the new total, and it ain't a whole lot more, but it's enough to say, well, it's just too much. And then I know you guys, it's not your job to deal with this, you're just a messenger, but it's just, I just can't understand how can it be okay 1 minute, and then I understand things go up, but like Jim said, if it goes up on anybody's side, it should go up on your side, because we do got a lot more. It's not our traffic coming down that highway. We share a little bit of, but a lot of it's your guys sending the cars through, and they go from all the way from down south all the way to the Canadian border, and they're coming through pretty clip. And it's, you've ever sat down there and watched people? I go up there and they stop. And if I see a semi coming, even if it's green, I sit and wait, because they fly right through. And then that's not all your fault, but it's a good reason why we need to get something done there. But again, I'll just leave it at, I'll be comfortable with 177. Thank you.
I know there was a study done and everything, but I really don't think anybody was here on a holiday weekend, 4th of July or something like Christmas. The traffic that comes through here is ridiculous. And it's not from here, it's out of state license plates.
Yeah, and it'd probably be remiss of me not to, I recall some of the conversation from 2 years ago about the, you know, trip generation of what we call mainline Highway 60 versus side roads. I think back then I probably said something similar, and I'd reiterate it now. MnDOT's cost participation is lined up by leg and acknowledges that, you know, all those legs are needed in order to warrant those signals, right? So say Highway 60 didn't exist, you wouldn't have a signal. If the side road didn't exist, you also wouldn't have a signal. I think I probably conveyed those comments 2 years ago as well. So that's how the policy has been written for, well, as long as I can recall, so a few decades. And is just consistent with how we treat communities across the state, so.
So in regards to the traffic signal and stuff, you indicated that next, like a year from now, or this, not this coming summer, right? It's the summer of, oh, okay, oh, it is that soon, okay.
Summer
So
of '26, yep.
This is a guaranteed thing that the lights do need to come down and something needs to be done?
That's MnDOT's position, yes.
Okay.
I guess I would just say, we've went back and forth on this. Yes, it's more than what, we had budgeted that we wanted to spend. But I am seeing that, you're working with us on trying to adjust this and absorb some of it. I just can't see Windom not having a stoplight right there. I think that is gonna cause more problem, with our traffic and with our flow through town. If semis aren't stopping at a red light, they definitely aren't gonna notice the stop sign there if there's not a light signal at all. So I think that would be more troublesome. So I think, I think we just have to kind of bite the bullet, and if we can go at the 226, I think I would just support that and move forward so we can be done with this and just get our traffic light up, get it upgraded, and move on.
And I think MnDOT would reiterate that we still view the traffic signal as the safest alternative for that intersection, consistent with that analysis.
I am wondering how close to the 226 do you expect it to actually come in? I mean, how locked in is that 226? Because we were locked in at 177. I know that bids and estimates can change, but I mean, from the time there's a resolution, well, wasn't there? I mean, how locked in are we?
Yeah, MnDOT's approach is always, here's an estimate based on bids. And a lot of things affect bids. The city probably puts out bids for projects as well. Sometimes they're a little higher, sometimes they're a little lower, sometimes they're a lot higher, sometimes they're a lot lower. In 3 of those 4 situations, we have a simple conversation. In 1 of those, we have a much longer conversation, because if they're substantially higher, that's not what everybody was planning, and probably contractors are looking at the project a little differently than we were, and we need to revisit some things. Typically, that's around staging requirements and how much work they're allowed to get done, and how many mobilizations they need to do. Typically, that's one of the 4 scenarios, right, where it comes in substantially high. We typically find ourselves in one of those other 3 buckets where we're generally within about 10% of our estimates, at least in District 7 in Mankato. Back to Mary's point, right, when we delayed the project a year, we didn't have a large enough sample size of the different signal pole systems going in the state with the new foundation requirements. We've got a larger sample size now, so our confidence level is increased accordingly.
So when the street committee met, I think there was the option of possibly paying for this over more than 1 fiscal year. Is that still on the table, or did I misunderstand that part of the conversation?
I'm not recalling this part of it, unless it was what we call the ELE, the early late encumbrance, where MnDOT was funding it in what would be our fiscal year 2027, but we would still let it in fiscal year 2026.
Okay, so there isn't like a payment plan or something that could be put forth?
In rare opportunities where we talk substantial improvements across multi-year projects, right, where there's say, an urban reconstruction with local utilities that are occurring in both year one and year two, we're talking significant investments of millions of dollars, then MnDOT sometimes has provisions for payment in year one and payment in year two, typically afforded to smaller communities. Something that is like this, that's probably considered generally lower cost and not spanning multi-year. I've not seen us take that approach in the past.
Could you tie it in with the rest of the construction we're gonna be doing out there towards the south highway?
To clarify, are we talking the roundabout improvements on the south end of the town? Mary, when is that currently slated for again? 2027? Okay. Yeah, so I think goal would be to get this work done in front of that, expecting, the additional traffic being detoured at these new signals. So the goal would be to have these separate, and that roundabout project is not quite ready to be advertised with this project right now. Mary, you can correct me if I'm...
No, that's correct. Is there,
So we would intend to keep those separate. Generally speaking, too, if you've got sort of a signals project, you want a signal contractor bidding on that. If you've got a grading and paving project, you want a grading and paving contractor to bid on that project. So generally, you just see more competitive pricing, keeping those work types separate.
I was just gonna add with the detour for the roundabout using the McDonald's intersection, to be replacing that signal at the same time would get tricky. Wouldn't be impossible, but would be some extra complexities.
Yeah, 'cause I look at it from, we'll be having construction from now until 2029. Type of things, once you guys get started and get all finished up, so that's gonna go from the lights all the way south. With all your stuff you're buying and your turns and roundabouts and all that toy. 'Cause I look at it as one big construction field right now, 'cause that's what it's gonna turn into.
Yeah.
And you guys look at it a little differently, but I'm looking at it as one big thing that Windom's gonna have to endure with the detours and everything else, and our own construction that we're gonna be doing in the city.
Yes.
So it's gonna be a lot of stuff going on in a little bit of time, but that's why I asked if we could tie it all together and make it one happy family.
And I realize no one's okay or happy with rising costs and stuff like that. They go up, routinely, as we all know. Should the decision to be no, what are some likely things that will happen? Because the streetlights are coming down. What are some things that might be a response from MnDOT?
Yeah, I think we'd go back and look at that traffic memo again. We'd look at what the trade-offs were in terms of what I'd call delay impacts and crash impacts. When I say delay, I'm talking about vehicle users. You might remember a table that talked about level of service, just the amount of time it takes for a person to get through an intersection, as well as some of the crash implications. I think we'd look at, okay, within those alternatives, because again, we were taking a high-level approach of what's all on the table. Signal, I think all-way stop, two-way stop. I think those were primarily the three alternatives on that table at that point. We'd ask ourselves, are there sub-alternatives within this to either mitigate the delay or crash concern of these different alternatives? So I think we'd look at the suite of options, understanding we have a generally short window to implement something from our perspective, given the age and condition of the existing signal system.
And the cost, I know you don't know, but would you guesstimate, I don't know, that's a good word to use, but would you guesstimate that the cost would go down significantly with a different option? Like if the lights came down, you decided on some other option, would it be significantly cheaper?
Yeah, it probably it's probably different for each alternative. If we took the signal system down and put a temporary signal system in that has sort of a short-term duration, there's costs associated with that until we can get a permanent installation in, right? So that has some inherent sunk costs with it. It probably looks cheaper initially, but in the long term actually costs us more because it's two different signal systems. Certainly taking it down and doing one of those other alternatives is substantially cheaper at those concerns of increasing delay and increasing potential for crashes. And of course, those other two I'm referring to are the all-way stop and the two-way stop, which I think we all acknowledged in that meeting, I think last time we were here, that again, we felt the signal option was the safest alternative.
John, as having been at all of the street committee meetings and taking notes, and this is your area, do you have any questions, or would you like to add anything?
I think we pretty much beat the nail on the wood already, so.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything? I mean, what now? So we can't do a resolution?
Why don't, I will just throw out a motion and we'll see where it goes. I would make a motion that we approve, funding up to the 226, thousand for the street, or the signal system at Highway 60 and 10th Street. I don't know if we can say if it's, if the bid is over that then we have a conversation with the DOT and go from there. But if we can look at funding the 226 at this time, I just feel like it's probably just gonna go up if we wait even longer, or if we put in a temporary system and then wait a year or two, and then, it's eventually gonna have to get done. We gotta figure out something. I guess I would rather just get it done and do it now for the hopefully 226, so I would make that motion.
And as painful as this is, I do agree. I'm not a fan of spending that kind of money on that kind of thing, but I do not see it going down. And so I'm gonna second that motion.
The motion on the table to approve funding the $226,000 for said intersection. Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Yeah, aye.
Right.
Motion fails. So, I don't know what to say now. I mean, what's standard now? Do we take it back to the street committee and let them talk about options?
The street committee is at a 50-50 split, so it has to get decided by the council.
I think we go back to these guys and they're gonna come back to you with some alternatives or ideas, or maybe a lower number, and see if we can hit it again next meeting.
No, we thank you for your time tonight. We know it's moved around a lot over the years, and so we appreciate you're willing to meet with us on this topic. Yeah, and we'll go reevaluate alternatives.
I always thought that taking a rain check was good, but I guess not, huh?
I don't know how many times I sat down there and counted cars on the highway and on 10th Street, and it's always between 10 and 15 times as many on the highway
I have
as
to ask,
on 10th Street.
Are you looking for a job? 'Cause we probably have something. No, thank you all. We really appreciate your time today. I know you guys are all busy and your meetings have been jam-packed, so we really appreciate you guys taking time to discuss this with us and sharing your thoughts and your views on it. So, we'll see you soon.
Thank you for coming. I'm sure we'll be in touch soon.
We will.
Thank you. All right. Next up, department heads. Are there any department heads here that want to speak during this time?
Carrie is not here tonight for the library. She's got a note here that she says, we have started our winter reading program for the adults ages 16 and up. The goal is to read 10 books between now and March 31st. Come to the library to register. The theme is Library Sparks Your Imagination.
Any other department heads during this time? All right. Next up, resolutions accepting donations. And first up, we have a donation from Carol Turner to the Windom Ambulance Service in the amount of $100. That is just to be used for the Windom Ambulance Department in general.
I'll make a motion to accept a donation from Carol Turner for Windom Ambulance Service.
Second.
The resolution has been introduced by Benson, second by Nelson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Esplin.
Yes.
Benson.
Yes.
Quaid.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Wonderful. Next up is a donation to the Windom Library from Nancy Meyer in the amount of $100. And the Nancy Meyer requests that the donation be used for purchase of library requests.
I'll introduce this resolution.
I'll second.
Resolution has been introduced by Esplin, second by Quaid. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Nelson.
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Benson. Quaid.
Yes.
Esplin.
Yes.
Right, next up is another donation to the Windom Library from Dorothy Van Norman in the amount of $500. And Dorothy requests that the donations be used for the purchase of children's library materials.
I would introduce this resolution.
I'll second it.
Resolution has been introduced by Sherman, second by Benson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Sherman.
Yes.
Esplin.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Quaid.
Yes.
Benson.
Yes.
Wonderful, and thank you to those community members for those donations. Always appreciated by each department, so thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the Planning Commission recommendation, and we welcome Matt Fass, Building and Zoning Official, to go over that with us.
Good evening, Matt Fast, Building and Zoning. Planning Commission previously discussed the need to review the city code language regarding billboards within city limits. On August 5th, 2025, the City Council adopted ordinance number 201, second series, entitled An Interim Ordinance of the City of Windom, Minnesota, authorizing a study and imposing a moratorium on the acceptance of conditional use permit applications for billboards. Following research of existing city code language, Minnesota statutes, and ordinances from other Minnesota cities concerning billboards, the proposed ordinance number 203, second series, has been prepared. The ordinance has been reviewed by the city attorney, who recommended no revisions, but recommended approval by the Office of Minnesota Commissioner of Transportation as required by Minnesota statutes. On December 9th, 2025, the Planning Commission reviewed the proposed ordinance and recommended that after review of proposed ordinance number 203, second series, by the Office of Minnesota Commissioner of Transportation, the City Council hold the two required readings of proposed ordinance number 203, second series, and approve this ordinance. Building and zoning staff contacted Emily Eichner, the local Minnesota Department of Transportation specialist in permits, concerning an appropriate individual in the office of the commissioner to forward the proposed ordinance to for review. Upon her suggestion, the ordinance was emailed on December 10th to Greg Palenti, who is the individual in the commissioner's office who works extensively with billboards. A subsequent email was sent to Mr. Palenti on December 22nd. To date, no response has been received from Mr. Palenti or anyone in the office of the Minnesota Commissioner of Transportation. The moratorium is scheduled to expire in February 2026. For this reason, Building and Zoning staff is recommending that the City Council hold the two required readings of ordinance number 203, second series, and adopt said ordinance subject to any revisions which may be required by the Office of the Minnesota Commissioner of Transportation. So recommendation would be to approve the first reading of ordinance number 203, second series, entitled An Ordinance of the City of Windom, Minnesota, adding new definitions and subsections, specifically to city code sections 152.002 and 152.443 related to billboards, subject to any revisions which may be required by the Office of the Minnesota Commissioner of Transportation.
I'll make a resolution to accept the ordinance of number 203, second series.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made by Benson, second by Sherman. Is there any discussion here? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Next on the agenda is 2026 mayor appointments and reappointments. And the recommendation from the mayor to the city council for approval of the following 2026 appointments to the boards and commissions. If everybody had a chance to read over these, I did talk to each of these people individually, except for Glenn Francis, which Jason Sikora did speak to. So there's some new people, several reappointments. There's some projects going on and people want to see them through, so they were interested in staying on. Community Center Board, Mitch Vale is a reappointment. Brady Haugen is a new appointment. EDA Board, Heidi Hill is a new appointment. HRA Board, Luane Pegman is a new appointment. Library Board, John Duscher, Sarah Peterson, and Francis Swenson are all reappointments. Excuse me. Park and Rec Commission, Jess Smith, Jackie Jurgens, and Antonio Cerda Juarez are all reappointments. Planning Commission, Matt Miller and Tyler Patterson are both reappointments. Telecom Commission, Josh Peterson and Dirk Abraham are both reappointments. Tree Committee, Bruce Toninato is a reappointment. And Utility Commission, Glenn Francis is a reappointment. And just to note too that several of these were fill-ins for, they were appointed in midterm or towards the end of one, so they haven't sat a full term too. So if anybody has any questions, comments, or otherwise, if not, we'll take a motion to approve the mayor appointments and reappointments.
I'll make a motion to approve the mayor appointments and reappointments.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made by Sherman, second by Esplin. Is there any discussion? I would just like to add that I thank all of these people that serve. Everyone was, I didn't have to really work too hard to talk anyone into it, and each of these roles are extremely important. So anyone that's coming new on board or is being reappointed is very much appreciated. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, contractor payment for the Island Park Berm project, pay request number 2 for $34,119.36.
Thank you, Mayor. It sounds like you hit the nail right on the head. This is for Mathewitz Construction and everything, so this should be their final payment, it looks like. Nope, one more yet.
Anybody?
I'll make a motion to accept the payment number 2 of 34,000 and all that.
I'll second.
Motion has been made by Benson, second by Nelson, to approve the pay request for $34,119.36. Any discussion?
One quick, John, is that gonna be firm enough for when they're ready to take that little house out to take that out of there? Or?
I'm hoping they're gonna wait for it to freeze up again.
And how much approximately would be left after this payment?
The 328, because that's got the alternate with the pad on it, so So they've completed the work for 328,000. Then there's the retainage that was withheld. So we still have final payment. I can't remember the number. I know they sent it. Let me look really quick. Maybe I can find it for you. Final pay request will be, whoops. Oh, nope, you are right. This actually is the final. I was thinking we got this before Christmas and I thought they were gonna wait until after, but yep, no, this is final. So, my mistake, this is final.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep.
You're welcome. Then I got a little update, on the snow blower and everything. I've had an option to purchase a demo unit. So with all the extra add-ons and everything, they're gonna give us $5,135 worth of extra add-ons.
Maybe we should finish this contractor payment item and then go to new business later.
Excuse me, any other discussion on the final pay request that has had a motion and been second? Right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up for new business, Mr. Ketzenberg.
Yes, like I mentioned earlier, we have an option to purchase a demo unit that's got 5 hours on it. It's considerable, a lot of extra value in this thing. Like say, there's about $5,135 worth of extra add-ons that's coming with the unit that they're just pretty much letting us have. They're taking $2,000 off of the unit itself for the 5 hours on it, and it does have a little bit of paint damage in the chute area and then where the augers are, where the snow kind of goes in. So that's this kind of normal wear and tear. So altogether there, with all these add-ons and everything, they're talking about $224,236. So that'd be $4,236 over what you guys budgeted for the 220. So I was coming here to get you guys' blessing to add on that $4,000 with a huge amount of savings for extra equipment we got. And then with what we had for savings on the tractor and everything, I will still be coming in under budget and giving you guys some money back and everything too. So we got about $19,000 worth of savings on the tractor, so we take the 4 off and everything, we're still sitting pretty good.
Still got that 0 to 10% saved.
That's what I was just gonna
down.
say.
Yeah.
You look right at me, and that's what I want. That's what we need, because you look at all the other stuff going on, it's crazy. I'd make a motion for John to say it's okay to do that then.
I would second.
Motion made by Benson, second by Quaid, giving approval to go ahead with the snow blower purchase.
I will get a hold of him tomorrow and tell him it's off the market then. Thank you guys, have a good night.
Yeah. Is there any discussion on this?
Is it too late to change my vote? I'm just kidding.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, John. We had slid right into new business there, so we will move on to our next piece of new business, which is special council meeting, Joint Council and Telecom Commission Federated Electric, which may meant to be broadband, presentation.
Yeah. Mic went up. So the council had talked about having a joint meeting with the Telecom Commission to basically just go over the Federated's proposal again with their intent to purchase Windom Net. And so kind of the schedule that was set out was a date for January 14th was kind of penciled in to have just a public informational meeting at the community center. They have penciled the date in there. So we just need confirmation from the council if you want to hold that public information meeting. It would essentially be, Federated coming and kind of going through the same thing that they did at the council level and at the telecom commission level, talking about themselves, what services they provide, what they offer, what their cost structures are, why they're interested in Windom Net, and then answer other questions that maybe pop up that the council has or the commission has. So I guess just want to know if that's something you still want to move forward with, and if so, we need to set that as a special meeting.
We have penciled in January 14th at the community center.
Yeah, we didn't have a time. I just asked Tim to hold that
Oh.
date.
Okay, that was my next question.
And that's a public meeting too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
for the
Yep.
public.
Yeah, it'd be advertised for the public to come in and listen to the, that presentation, and, if there's, questions that want to get asked, so.
I'll make a motion to accept the special meeting, joint council meeting with Telecom and Federation Electric presentation for January 14th.
What time do you think?
I would just say, if we could do it a little later, I know Park and Rec meets at 5:30, we're generally done by 6:30, so that'd be my thought, and just also to have the public attend so they can get home, have supper with their family, and then maybe come to the meeting.
Take 6:30 was part of your motion, Mr. Benson.
Yes, yes, sir.
Second.
Motion has been made by Benson, second by Sherman, to hold a public informational special council meeting, joint council and telecom, January 14th, which is a Wednesday, at 6:30 at the community center. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then under new business, I would like to add that other companies have expressed interest in conversation regarding telecom. They include, we had gotten an email from Woodstock a while ago, Midco, MVTV Wireless, and Jason Kruger of Odson Underground. They have all expressed interest in having conversation, and all correspondence has been sent on to the Telecom Commission. So they have that, and it's on their next agenda at their next meeting, which I believe is set for January 26th at 6 p.m. 6:30, 6 o'clock, January 26th at the Telecom Commission. That said, does anyone else have any new business? Last call for new business. Does anyone have any old business? Nothing for old business. All right, we are moving on to council comments. And I will kick that off tonight, and all I really have is a thank you to Ron Schrammel. I'm not sure how many years he has been the city attorney. I did call his office today, but I didn't hear back from him. But I was sad for us to hear that. I'm happy for Ron if he's busy with his private practice, but I just appreciate his work. It's been nice to have his expertise at our disposal since I've been here, and I assume before that. So thank you, Ron Schrammel, for your service to Windom. Next up, council comments. Would you like to go, Mr. Benson?
Sure would. It's a brand new year, so let's all pull together and let's see what we can do this year to make this the best year we can, and to try to make Windom the best we can for everybody that lives here and anybody that wants to come and join the city and participate in anything we have to do within the city. It's a good community to be part of, and we have a lot of stuff going on, and we're gonna have a lot of moving parts coming from here forward with construction and the whole 9 yards. So just be patient with everybody, and if there's any questions you guys have out there, please ask. Don't ever assume anything. Ask, because then you can now find it. If we don't have the answers, we can try to find out for you. But let's have a good year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benson. Ms. Quaid, do you have anything?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Mr. Esplin, anything tonight? Mr. Sherman?
Just briefly, I just want to wish everyone a very merry and happy new year, and that's it.
Thank you, sir. Do you have anything, Mr. Nelson?
Congratulations, Madam Mayor, on a year. And you don't have any gray hair?
Oh, eyebrows.
Okay. Other than that, Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir. It has been a year. I feel better about this meeting than I did a year ago tomorrow. Steve, do you have anything for council comments? All right. Well, that wraps up our meeting then. And we will adjourn this meeting by unanimous consent.